I was worried there wouldn't be enough space in there for you to get your mouth in, but that doesn't seem to be a problem at all. I was thinking we'd have to trim it down a little bit, but you're doing a good job. You're getting your face all up in there, huh? Yep. Delicious. So, fall is upon us. It's gotten cold. So we're working on getting everything ready for winter and snow and all that good stuff. We need to take apart the garden. So we'll probably do this weekend. I have enough hay coming, hopefully, this weekend to last them the winter. I think I'm getting 4,000 pounds, maybe 5,000 pounds of hay. We need to plant our garlic, which we'll also be probably doing this weekend. We got a lot going on this weekend. But today, we're going to check on the worms. Maybe move some stuff around in the workshop. Because I want the worms to be up in the workshop so they're close to the house, because in the wintertime it sucks to walk down to the barn. And so if I only have to do that once a week, I'm good with leaving the main CFTs will stay in the barn. But I mean the little breeding bins I want to move up into the workshop area so I can check on them on a more regular basis. Because it's a lot easier than walking down to the barn every day. I mean, we'll still probably do that, but we'll be carrying eggs. The chickens have acclimated themselves to the new nesting boxes. Their production is back up. It had dipped for a couple of days as they were trying to figure out how things work and all that. And change is never good with chickens. They don't like that. So let's go check on some worms. All right, so we're in the workshop, which I desperately need to clean up because it's kind of a mess. We got a whole bunch of buckets over there and whatnot. Those are empties. But let's get it warmed up in here because right now it is a little chilly. It's about 45 degrees. And for your Celsius people, that's like 8, 9, something like that. So we have the pellet stove in here, which does a pretty good job of heating up this room. I don't remember. Oh, good. Still pellets in it from last year. I know I cleaned it out this summer. No, apparently I didn't. Well, that's exciting. I know I cleaned out the top. Let's see if I remember how to start this thing. It's only been a year. So that's fire starter. That you only need a little bit. And let's move all this wood that's next to it because that looks like a fire hazard. Right. All right, so what we need to take this off the top, I need a scooper because you light pellets and then that's what gets it started. Oh, I'll just use one of my worm ones. Okay. So how you get this bad boy started is you take out not many pellets, you don't need much. You load it in the hopper. And then we're going to well, that's not encouraging. Oh, because it's probably not plugged in. It's not plugged in. One moment, please. There we go. Now it's stirring. And so what you do is you add a little bit of gel over the top. And then you get that started. So it starts like that. You can close your door. Close the top because there's a little safety switch here. I think so that you don't, I don't know, get your hand stuck in the auger, which would be crazy because it's way down in there, because there's an entire bag, it's probably 50 pounds of pellets in here right now. So then there's a little heat exchanger up here, and this shoots out across the room. There's there was a little vent cover here that would direct the heat down, but I had stuff blocking it. If you remember last winter, I had the CFTs right here, and so I wanted the heat blowing across them, and so I pulled that off. So I'm going to need to find it and put that back. Probably wait till it gets a little bit warmer in here. And the fire went out. Okay, let's get the fire going again. Once they're lit, these things are awesome and crazy warm. It just sometimes takes a minute to get them started. And I need to make sure my flue is open. It's probably closed right now. Yes, it is. It's closed all the way. So this little knob, you pull it out, and it allows airflow inside. You can see it burning now. So that this bad boy can go. And there we go. All right, so now we'll have some warmth. Okay. So, what we're in here for? We're in here to look at worms. So let's look at worms. There are other critters in the shed. We've had raccoons visiting us, which makes me nervous. Not for any of the chickens or the dogs, but we have a lot of barn cats that kill off any of the mice and moles and voles. And if you've ever seen a raccoon, I'll show you. I'll try and post a picture if I can see it from the trail cam. The raccoon we have is like 3 times the size of one of our cats. So, okay, so let's look at our breeding bins. Last week we set up 3 breeding trays. So we were at 650 subscribers. Now we're at 666, which we need more subscribers. That's kind of a bad number. So we've got the pumpkin theme, the 650 subs, and then this is just the generalized breeding tray, or breeding bin. And so we have these 3. We'll take a look at them. Before we do though, somebody had asked how we keep our castings, how we store them. And I kind of want to show you how we store them between orders, I guess. So some people will order 100, 200, 300 pounds, and we may sift out an extra 25, 50 pounds, something like that. I don't know. And so we just keep them in one of these 15-gallon totes. that we sift them out from. We just use these. I just label it castings, and we keep them in here. Couple reasons why we do that. Sometimes eggs get through, and so we'll check it before we ship these out. We keep these for smaller orders. The bigger orders go into what are called super sacks. I don't have any in here. They're those giant white bags. I don't know if I have any handy. Yeah, let me show you a super sack. So, super sack, literally called bulk bag, duffel top, spout bottom. It's probably the same material as your sandbags, but we get them in bulk for bigger orders because they can hold hundreds of pounds of castings for the farms around here that want those. So, and obviously we don't ship those because freight on that would be nuts. But locally, the farmers can use it, and then it's got a spout bottom so they can just pour it out into whatever they want. And it looks like this for the smaller orders. So you get your stored castings, and they'll last for months like this. You want to make sure that they stay moist. You want to keep them in the same setting. Sometimes we won't, maybe we won't sift for a couple of weeks, so we build up enough to be able to process hundreds of pounds at once if we have a bigger order come through, or if we do smaller orders, we'll always have something like that sitting aside. So that's what we do with those. So, okay. So now we'll start with this first tray. So we put newspaper on top to keep the moisture in. And I want you to see if you can hear something. Not on that one. On that one. Oh, come on now. There we go. All right, this one. Hear that? That's water in the bottom. Yeah, so the middle one has water in the bottom, the other two don't. Just kind of the nature of the beast, right? So we set 3 up exactly the same way, and out of all of them, one of them got a little bit more liquid than the others. So as you can tell, it randomly happens. Nothing you can necessarily do about it. So this one, right? So they definitely need food. Let's see, there they are. Oh, I just found a bunch of them. There's one. Here we go, see? They're getting fat. They seem to be doing well. Let's put it over here. Right. And oh, come on now. Let's see if I can find some more. The problem with using cardboard and shredding stuff is it makes it hard to identify the noodles if you don't have good lighting. Oh, there's one right there. Right? So they're getting fat. They're doing well. But I can't see them. Oh, there we go. There was some more. So you can tell from the glasses, I don't have the best eyes. So, oh, there's some more down there. I know there's more than 3 worms in here, obviously. It's just that I can't see them. There's some more. I'll have to keep looking. But anyway, these guys are fat. They were a lot skinnier last week when we looked at them. So we'll check them again in a week. And so this is the tray with the pumpkin. They're doing well. They're getting fat. So let's put them back. and we'll move on to the next one. This is the one that has the moisture. So hopefully that doesn't mean that there's a bunch of worms drowning. It doesn't smell that way. Let's take a look. Yeah. So when you get a lot of moisture, they like to go for a swim. So you can see all the worms are in the bottom. Hopefully that shows up. And you can see all the worms swimming down here. What we do is we'll just pull them, pop them up top, dump the moisture. Well, not really dump the moisture. We use the moisture for dry bins. We'll pour this out into like a, I don't have one in here. It's in the barn. Into like a watering can, and then I use that if a CFT gets dry or anything like that. So we recycle that water because that is leachate. You do not want to use that stuff. I cannot stress this enough. That stuff is bad. It's at a potency you do not know, so bad. So yeah, so we'll pull those guys out and I will put them back up top. So let me find something to grab them with. So I use tweezers. I rarely wear gloves because I have the CFTs and we just pour buckets, 5-gallon buckets into the bins. If I was actually digging into my bins, I would absolutely be wearing gloves because we are using residential food waste. Not my food waste, somebody else's. Some of it's my food waste, obviously, but it's other people's food waste. So basically it's rotting food, and that's really gross. So wear gloves. And if it's your own stuff, fine. You know exactly where that rotten apple core came from. But if it's not your stuff, you don't know, man. There could be all kinds of nasty diseases or what have you, chemicals, or there's a whole bunch of them in the corner. And so you don't want that stuff. Plus the smells, they take forever to come off your skin. I've made that mistake, man. It's gross. All right, I think there's this guy. There we go. So I will pour this into something. It's not much. I mean, if you look in the light, we've got maybe 2 cups worth of liquid. Like, they're not drowning. This is like nothing. So aside from the moisture, I'll mix them in here a little bit. Yeah. They're doing good. All right. So we need to feed these guys. All right, let me put the top back on this one. And last but not least, is the first one we created. Oh yes, now I remember. The potted plant. It was chock full of worms. Let's see if it's still chock full of worms. They're all still in there. Yep, and then a few of them went down a little bit below. You can see these guys over here. So they're doing well. I would like to coax them out of the plant. We'll be able to do that with some food. So overall, I think they're doing pretty good. Obviously we need more worms. Halloween is just passed. Pumpkins are coming. And so we'll be feeding these guys pumpkin. We'll feed the CFTs pumpkin. And what I love about pumpkin is it'll draw them up to the surface. They absolutely love pumpkin. It's nice and easy for them to digest. And it congregates them as well. So then what we do is we use that as like a trap. So we'll put pumpkin chunks around the CFTs, and then a day later we'll go in, scoop out the worms that are part of that pumpkin chunk, and we'll use it to start more breeding bins, because it's a good way to get, you know, a few hundred worms separated from the rest of the colony. And they're happy about it because they love pumpkin. So that'll be probably this weekend we'll do that, because we're picking up a lot of the pumpkins on Friday from our food scrap customers. That's the 5th. And so by then we should have some rotten pumpkins for sure. So we'll be doing that and showing you how we bait out more pumpkins to create these breeding bins. Or not bait out pumpkins, bait out worms to create more breeding bins. I still haven't created the see-through worm bin. I'm trying to figure out if I want to do a CFT or if I want to do just a traditional bin. You know, put it on like a pallet so that I can move it around, because the whole idea here is we're trying to show people how to do this stuff, and I don't know if I want to use it for CFT purposes. I'd rather just use it as a traditional bin. But let me know your thoughts. What makes the most sense? And we can kind of go and design and build that sometime in the next week or two, so that we have a fun little toy to show people what goes on inside the worm bin. So I think that will be it for this week. Yeah. Let me know your thoughts on the worm bin and how things are going, and let me know if you have any questions. All right, take care. Oh, you're a mess. You're a mess. Who does your hair? Seriously. You need to talk to them, because they're not doing a very good job. I need to brush you, right?